Hey YouTube, this is SD Prepper, and this is just a how to start prepping series. Okay, I'm just going to go over a couple of things on each of the ones that are brought into any type of prepping scenario. This is kind of a easy how-to for the mindset. I'm not going to say you need to go out and buy this, buy that, buy that. This is what you need to keep in mind while you start your prepping journey. It could be anywhere from the budget prepper to the person that can drop 10, 20, 30 grand at one time and not even care. Okay, so first thing is there's two different scenarios. Is the bug in or the bug out. I'm going to touch on the bug in, but quick description. Bugging in means that you're going to stay in a location. Like with me, I plan on bugging in my apartment with my family, just because 4-year-old out on the road, that can't be a pretty sight. And then a bugging out is by taking minimal supplies, relying more likely than not on caches in your bug out location, the location that you will leave your home to go to, and set your camp up there and just try to hunker down there in a different location, less likely to have people, whatnot. Only thing I do want to bring up is a lot of people cannot afford to purchase, 4 or 5 acres here or there. So a lot of them, if you look at the prepping forums, are looking at national forests. The only issue there is so many of them are looking for national forests. So just a word there. Okay, so for bugging in, let's go over the basics. Very first is you're going to want to look at your law of threes. 3 minutes for air. Without that, average person will sustain brain damage and typically die. Okay, 3 days without water, and that is a very good amount of time without water. Depending upon whom you decide you want to ask, it's typically 3 weeks for your body to start metabolizing itself, and you would die of starvation. Okay, so there are your 3. So first thing is you want air supply. That's something that, unless you have a lot of money or you have the connections, can be a tricky one because of the air filters, purifiers, things like that. Those don't really even touch anything, and they get pricey just for those little items that we have in it for our everyday lives. Second is water. 1 gallon per day per person. Keep in mind, younger people as well as older people are going to need more water. If you're sick, you're going to need more water. So you need to figure out what type of time lapse you're going to have in your bug in scenario, and go from there. With mine, we look at anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. If you go to certain other preppers, they are ready for a couple of years. So that all just depends upon what you believe you're going to need, what you believe is sustainable, things like that. Because you keep in mind, there's ways to gather water, as well as plenty of ways to make it safe to drink. With all the technology out there, with all the little gadgets that don't even require any electricity, you can have safe drinking water and not worry. But always take a look at what you're picking up. Filters say they will go through this much before they're done. Depends upon the water quality. Hard water is going to go through a lot more than the soft water, so you're going to have to replace your filter sooner if you have very hard water. So keep that stuff in mind. Second off, and then third off is your food supplies. What do you want? Are you going to go canned goods? Are you going to go with freeze dry? Freeze dry is awesome stuff. You're looking at 10 to 25 years, but it is pricey. Then you look at canned goods, and do not let expiration dates scare you. The expiration date is mandatory by the FDA, so they put on typically 2 to 4 years. And there have been studies that show that canning in a normal number 10 can, the larger cans that you get like the huge family chili in, those can last from anywhere from roughly 10 years shelf life. Okay, so if it's if it's past date, just cook it a little longer. If you're to the point that you're eating food that's been expired for a year or two, then we already know that you're hungry and you need it. Okay, just make sure you get your food temps up. So those are the main ones that you gotta look at. You need to also look at making sure that you have the things to make it through your area's seasons. I'm in South Dakota. It gets awful dang cold out here. So we keep plenty of blankets. We have a couple of quilts, whatnot. Things to keep you warm. You're going to want to look at ways to cook your food. So gas camp stoves, things like that. And then you also want to take a look. After talking to quite a few people, they are steering me more towards butane. I am still not 100% sure, because unless you have a cold room that you're going to keep a window open to ventilate, you still have to worry about CO2 poisoning. Maybe I'll get a CO2 and do a couple of videos on that to see which could be the safer one, but that's for later. Okay, so just kind of make sure you have this. You're going to want to kind of keep some things to keep your mind off things, books, games, things like that. Almost every bug out bag video you see will have a deck of cards. So just kind of keep in mind, you're looking at like a grid out scenario. So you don't want things that have a lot of electricity, even if you have a generator, because sooner or later, if you look into any of your setups, you are going to lose gasoline, which means your generator is a big boat anchor. Okay, so those are kind of the main ones that you need to look at. After you get all those figured out, you need to look at your defenses. Just like anything else, you need to know every entryway as well as every escape route. Make sure that you explain this to your family, that you can go through here, you can go through there. In apartment living, you live second, third story, you can get drop down ladders to go out a window. Things like that. So it just all comes down to always keep an eye out for things like that. It doesn't matter if you want to go with a martial art, go with knife fighting skills, go with firearms. Just kind of have a plan, because one of the big concerns with a lot of preppers is that when the shit hits the fan is the marauders. That people are going to be going around and scavenging, looting out of homes, apartments, things like that. So if you're bugged in your apartment, it's a concern that you have to address. So those are the main ones that you really want to focus on. So this is, like I said, this is going to be more of a mindset. You need to have these things in your mind throughout the day. I'm not saying sit down and obsess over them. But when you're walking around the store, you're like, oh, I see that the water's on sale. Maybe I need some more water. You can pick up water. So what? These are just little things that if you keep in the back of your mind, you're going to walk by. You might see a sale. You might see an advertisement for a new product that might make things a little easier for you. So hopefully y'all get some information out of this and it helps with it. I probably will do some more, just doing a step-by-step with things to look into for all this. by each of the categories, like I said, water, food, shelter, whatnot. So, pretty much, I thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe if you found this helpful in any way, shape, or form, and always leave comments. Let me know what I missed, what you think I missed, what you liked about it. Okay? This is what's going to help me make the videos that are engaging and make sure that you are getting a little bit more information out of it. Because I know I'm not the only YouTube prepper out there. I just hope I can bring something to the table that the others haven't touched or add on. So, thank you again, and y'all have a good night, YouTube.